Today's show is brought to you by Manscaped, the leaders in below the waistline grooming. Not only are they safe, but they are secure and they are waterproof, which we like. Because when you're talking about working with your below the waistline region and more importantly, your dangly twins, you want to make sure that you're not doing anything to compromise them or their health. So you want to make sure you're using that Lawnmower 4.0, the Crop Reviver, and you can't forget about the Ball Toner as well, man, because you want to make sure you're extra smelly and fresh. Not smelly in a bad way, but smelly in a good way, okay? Just make sure we clarify that up. And, you know we got promo codes for you, baby. And with the promo code MAYBE, it is MOATS. Use that, get 20% off along with free shipping worldwide at manscaped.com. So stop wasting time, man, and take care of your short and dangly twins. They will appreciate you, and all of their friends will appreciate you as well. Barilla92 says feels like the ops always have a wide receiver or tight end wide open on every play. Is it our zone scheme or a player issue? On the flip side, is it the flip side, is it the route tree? So I think he's asking about us and them, it looks like. So in terms
probably was it Cleveland's scheme?
Yeah. So not to say their scheme, part of us doing some of the zone stuff that we were experiencing was to have that extra defender in the box to help with the run. You don't want to do a ton of the too high look. You don't want to do a ton of the two-man or the Tampa 2 stuff versus this type of rushing attack because you feel like you need that extra defender in the box. But the flip side is when you're not able to get pressure and now you're forced to play some of the zones that they were playing, now these receivers and times are going to get time to sit down in some of those soft spots. But then also when we were matched up with them in a man-to-man type concept, we were getting beat in some of those elements as well, as we talked about with what Amari Cooper was able to do. Is it a player issue? It's a TJ Watt issue. When you don't have TJ, a lot of things are affected and impacted. First couple of games, the mentality of the first game, you saw what the approach was. We're going to rush forward. We're going to play coverage, whether that be Tampa 2, which they played a ton of, or they were going to go man, or they'll sit in that cover 3 that we saw them do a lot of in the preseason. But when you lose TJ, now you have to figure out how am I able to still generate that type of pressure, but without having to blitz a ton because you don't want to put your secondary in a compromised position. So you're trying to figure that balance out. And yesterday, man, the Browns, they were just able to stay very multifaceted. We never made them one-dimensional. So when you're trying to figure out your own internal stuff while dealing with the Browns offense that was rolling at the time, being able to run the ball and throw the ball, at times you're going to feel like you're reeling. And that's what it felt like. It was just kind of like, man, we don't have a call right now. We don't have anything that could just get us a stop right here, right now. And that's something that the staff, in terms of Terrell Austin, Brian Flores, and Mike Tomlin, they'll get in the lab and they'll figure that part out. But that, to me, is more so the byproduct of not having TJ Watt. It's been 2 weeks, but it was 1 week and a short week. So you really are still trying to grasp what's the best method going forward. Is it relying solely on Malik Reed, Delonte Scott, Jameer Jones? David Anena, when he gets the opportunity to get activated, is that what the approach is? Or is it something different? But now that they got a little bit more time on their hands, I think we will see a better version or a better approach to that. So that way you're not feeling the way that we're feeling right now in terms of this defense and in terms of how they were allowing the amount of pass plays to go off and some of those run plays as well, man.
For being a short week in Thursday Night Football, I actually think that game was pretty good. We got a good product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both teams moving the ball.
Yeah.
Look clean, back and forth. It wasn't sloppy. It wasn't a shit show like sometimes you will see on Thursday Night Football.
Hey, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right. We also had AJ Martinez. He says, we look very pedestrian against the Browns. Yeah, that Browns team is 2-1 also, man. So I get the narrative. I do, but they're 2-1. They low-key should be 3-0 if you're being real about it. The Jets' loss was still just baffling when you watch how that game ended. So I get what you're saying, but at the same time, we still have to be better.
No, Browns aren't
execution.
a bad
Not
team.
At all. Not
they
at all.
They aren't a bad team.
And right now, Jacoby Brissett is playing good. He's doing enough for those dudes, man. And that's the other part. When we talked about this team, we said, man, they have a dope team. We knew that quarterback was going to be the big question when they lost Deshaun Watson for the suspension and stuff like that. But we said with Jacoby Brissett, he could play well. We just know that it typically teeters off the longer he's out there. Yesterday, I don't know, because it was week 3, maybe that helped him out. But, they do got a good team, man. They definitely do.
And we didn't stop the run completely.
Yep. And wasn't that the first thing you said? The first thing I said? I think that's the first thing that everybody said when you talk about the Browns week. You have to stop the run. Did not do
we
that.
We did
man.
those first couple series, and then it was 3rd and long. We got pressure on Brissett, and then we got the ball back.
But see, part of me, man,
we couldn't sustain that, though.
To me, man, I had wrote in my notes, too, watching it in live action. I said the first 2 series, I did not think that the Browns were committing to running the ball. We were seeing a lot of, like, them trying to spread it out, go empty a little bit, and obvious, try to beat it with Brissett. But then I thought it opened back up for Brissett passing wise when they said on that 3rd drive, we're going to commit to running this ball. We're going to get Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt more involved. And from there, that's when they were able to actually have some more success throwing the ball against us. But you're right, early on, man, we were having success stopping the run, man. We definitely were.
King Stacks, are we at me yet?
Yes, we are. Yes, good call.
By the way, Deke, AW is not it. Bro, sorry. A good 2 or 3 cornerback, though. No, give him a chance.
Well, right now he's injured.
I've seen enough with Witherspoon that he's probably our best corner, I think. Although yesterday's performance wasn't that solid, but in general, I still think he's our go-to guy.
Yeah. So to me, man, I think Okello has the most prototypical size and all the prototypical traits to be our best corner, our cornerback 1. I personally think Cam Sutton's our best and actually most productive corner. I just don't think that he has the athletic tools that Okello has in his bag. And we kind of saw that when he was matched up in terms of Cam Sutton matched up against Amari Cooper. Does everything right.
On that one deep pass.
Yeah, does everything right in terms of trying to stay on top of the route, body positioning, pedaling and all that. But he's limited in terms of his athletic ability. But he has everything else. So that's why he's still able to compete and be productive. But those are the issues. Those are the areas where he's going to always struggle. Whereas with Okello has the length, the size, the speed, and everything to match with that. But he just has to be more fundamentally sound. One of the things that makes Okello so good is his eyes. He has big vision. He sees a lot. But at the same time, that's one of the things that hurts him at times, as we saw, in yesterday's game as well, man. And he's not the only corner that has these issues. It's a good amount of corners that have these issues, man. In terms of just getting too nosy with their eyes because they're trying to make a play. They're trying to get that splash, that turnover. But when you're facing Amari Cooper or some of these upper echelon wide receivers who understand how to just get space, how to get separation, you have to be more dialed in. And that's something that with Okello also being a younger player in terms of him starting and being cornerback 1 like that, he's just going to have to get that caught up a little bit. You know what I mean? Just button that part up. But, yeah, I'm not turning the page on Okello, man. He'd be fine. But got to get the hammy right. And I didn't realize...
You could tell me...
Oh, go ahead.
You could tell me if I'm right or wrong on this one. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking in particular with yesterday's matchup throughout the game, that probably didn't help Okello that the Browns were running the ball and just how he's been needed thus far this season to be in on these running plays. I feel like that was probably one of his focuses too. So it wasn't completely on just, hey, I just got to focus on Cooper. It's like, hey, I got to worry about the run too. I got to get in on this because they're going to need me.
Well, and that is the design.
You can tell me if I'm right or wrong on that. But
listen,
that probably didn't help.
It didn't help, but that was by design by the Cleveland Browns. When you're scheming up some of these rushing attacks, some teams, they scheme it to where they're running away from the safety or they want to hit, a certain D lineman or linebacker. At times, they schemed some of the stuff where it was going to have to funnel out to where our corners were going to have to make tackles. One of the first big runs that we gave up was one of those plays where they funnel a run to the outside and Okello is just in the hole one-on-one with Nick Chubb and he just misses him. Those are some of the things, that the Browns would do. So, yeah, that would make Okello be a little bit more cognizant of that. But the big thing, and this is something that, secondary players, linebackers, safeties, corners will all tell you, man, when you are a pass player first, which the corners are pass players first, you got to play the pass first. Come back to that run, but you got to play that pass first, man. And that's the thing that when you're talking about staying buttoned up, we talk zone coverage versus man coverage and the difference of your eyes, right? same concept. It's like, man, you just got to know when I can be nosy, when I can't, when I can have my eyes in this backfield, when I need to have my eyes on this receiver. And those are some of the things that just play in and play out, he'll just continue to get more comfortable with. But that is also a part of it, man. Yeah.
Yeah.